Um, I can never quite decide whether I'm a light worker or not, or whether I'm an odd man out. I personally believe that we create 24/7, 365.
Yep.
I don't think we can not create. And if you know what if you want to know what is going on in your creation, just look around you, because it's all a mirror back at you. But I do think the co-creation is also true. I don't create all of this, and I don't think any of us create all of it. I'm not certain about that because of some things Seth said, but the fact of the matter is I belong to a bunch of other groups. I'm a Marine, you know. I'm a white man, I'm an American, I'm a Canadian, I'm male, and all of those groups influence who I am. And so to an extent, I'm co-creating with all of those groups, and the Zoom people, and the Reiki people, and the Cree people, and I think of it as Zen diagrams, where you've got circles, and where the circles intersect, that's the piece that I'm working on. But the fact is, each of these circles is also part of what's going on in here. I think the difficulty is when we look around at the broader world, is that almost all creation, co-creation is being done at an unconscious level. And an awful lot of that is rooted in fear. I remember something Seth wrote about all natural disasters are a result of accumulated human anger. Tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, wildfires. You know, well, I think that's true. We're co-creating all kinds of things, including war and peace. I don't discount that. I look at it at a personal level as, okay, I know there are a lot of people who, for whatever kind of reason, are afraid. And a lot of them perceive themselves as damaged in some fashion. And I see a major part of my job is to refuse to reinforce their perception of themselves. I hear in your guided meditations a lot about filling the cells with light and all of that stuff. I don't do that. I just kind of say, personally, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. I just don't believe there's anything wrong with you. I don't have to go further than that into how the human body works, because I don't have to believe in the human body to start with. But I do think that people have these ideas that sometimes they come from their childhood, sometimes from past lives, who knows, sometimes it's karma, but they perceive themselves in some fashion as damaged. And when I do Reiki, people come to me with that notion. I got headaches. My shoulders hurt, you know, whatever it is. And I think a lot of folks say, oh my, your shoulder hurts. And they reinforce the reality of that brokenness. And I see my job as not doing that. So I've spent a lot of my life working with very poor people, street people, drunks. I ran a disco 4 nights a week in Skid Row area of a big city so that street people could come in an alcohol-free, drug-free environment and relax and get off the street, and the women could stop selling their butts and the men could stop hustling for a while. And perceiving those people, you know, as unhappy, I just won't do it. It's taken me a long time to realize that every single one of those people has created a reality that for them is every bit as intrinsic and complicated and amazing as the reality I've created around me. And I honor that. I had to learn to treat everybody with dignity, everybody with respect. And I mean, you know, I was a middle-class kid when I started working with drunks who pissed their pants and shit in their britches, and you know, and to shake their hand and ask them how they're doing and give them a hug if they needed it, without judgment. I learned that from the Indians, for which I'm very grateful. But that's part of how I see my creation. That's my contribution, is to not reinforce these visions people have of something being wrong with them. And I had an interesting Zoom meeting yesterday because people were talking about being attacked. And I've taken a very Course in Miracles approach to that. You know, it's like Course in Miracles teaches that what is normally called attack is simply a cry for love. And the people who are doing this so-called attacking don't understand. They don't know how to ask for love. They're not in a place where they can do that. And it's my responsibility as the adult in the room, if you like, to understand that they're not attacking me and I don't have to get defensive. That's not my role. It's not to get defensive. And it's funny because, you know, Kathleen, I'm reappointed the president again of this community, this HOA. And Kathleen often refers to it as being a den mother to the village. And I say, yeah, I'm head of the complaint department. But the reality is, it's like letting those people say their piece and treating them with respect, that they have very much the right to complain about it as anybody else does. And not to deal with that in any impersonal kind of way, or even to take it personally. It's like, I'm here to help. That's what I do. And sometimes I can say, yeah, we can do something about it. And sometimes I can say, no, I can't do anything about it, but I understand where you're coming from. And maybe we can do something about it at another point where we got more money. So I see this co-creation is difficult. And it's not difficult because it's happening all the time. It's difficult to do consciously. It's difficult to do consciously because we don't know by definition what it is that's going on in here in the unconscious level. And that's why I preach over and over and over again, if somebody gets under your skin, bless them, because they are become your teacher. They have taught you an unhealed portion of yourself that you need to look at. If you're responding with fear because somebody's gotten under your skin, then you've got a teacher in front of you and you need to respect them for that. Well, that's not a very popular point of view, I have to tell you. It doesn't mean I don't say it. It just means it's not a very popular point of view. It's much simpler to point your finger at people. But that's how I deal with what I see as my personal role in creation, is see the light in people, see the good in the situation. I'm not convinced that a person who's unhappy and on the street, living in a cave in the Willamette River in the middle of Portland City, you know, and they got a cave for a home. I'm not sure that needs fixing. And if it does need fixing, I'm not at all convinced that I know how to do that. It seems to me that person has created this situation, and my job is to respect what they've done and not to join what my old Cree teacher said. Don't join any Ain't It Awful clubs. And, you know, I was a member of a lot of them. I belonged to a great number of Ain't It Awful clubs when I was younger. And that's got to do with what you were talking about, judgment. You know, you don't judge people. You don't judge situations. You just see the light that's there. And some people, you know, I think Shakespeare had it right. I think all the world's a stage. We've got the players on it. And we're not the roles we play. I don't believe that we are the roles we play. I remember in a conversation with God, book 1, God says, you know, when you're watching a picture of the Holocaust, it's really difficult to remember that the role of Hitler is being played by Gandhi, which, by the way, well defines my vision of Trump. Okay? It's very difficult to remember that he too is a child of God, taking on a job, a role for which, as long as we don't forget who we are, will not create a problem. Until we forget that if we begin to believe we're humans, then he's got a real problem. All of us have. If I forget that, and he forgets it, then we're lost. Anyway, those are my views on creation and co-creation. They're very personal, and they're pretty simple. They're pretty simple. I can't do a lot about most of what's going on in the world. I can't do a lot about COVID-19 other than just be smart about it. I can't do a lot about what political decisions are being made in Washington. I mean, I can vote and I can write letters and I can do that kind of stuff, but I can't really make huge, big changes on my own. I can work with other people. I got a call today. Hey, you got to get involved in politics in North Carolina. Well, I'm an independent. Do I have to get involved in politics in North Carolina? Can I do that without saying, ain't it awful? Anyway, I think I'll end it there. For me, it's all about personal responsibility and not confirming other people's opinions that there's something wrong with them.
Yes, I agree with that. That's why